Okay, I guess we are getting started now. Looking at some people trickling in. Just give it a minute and then get started. But welcome everyone to our cybersecurity, data protection, and digital forensics info session for spring summer 2025. We'll just give it a couple of more seconds. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon so far, wherever you are. And thanks for tuning in. My name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I'm the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Now, before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. I want to pay my respects to the Indigenous peoples, elders, and ancestors who stewarded and cared for nature and the people who lived on the land where TMU is located today. At the university, we made a deep and long-lasting commitment to truth and reconciliation. I invite you to learn more about this work online. Now I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or the presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions for today's presenters and speakers by typing your questions into the box of the control panel. And you may send in your questions during the session, but we will answer them at the end of the presentation section. Now I'd like to introduce our guest speakers for today. We have Alex Furwarn. Alex is the academic coordinator of the certificate at the Chang School. And then next we have Isa Traore, who's a course instructor, and also Derek Costa, who is another course instructor here at the Chang School. Now, before we go into the presentation, I'd just like to do a quick poll for all of our attendees here and just take a look at what everyone thinks. So I'm gonna go ahead and launch the poll now. And we'll just give it a minute for everybody to answer this poll. So I'll just read out the question just for everyone here. It's which cybersecurity skill do you think is most crucial for landing a job in today's market? Penetration testing and network protection is number one. Forensic analysis and evidence collection, number two. International cybersecurity laws, and then encryption and decryption techniques. Okay, looks like our answers are trickling in, and yeah, it looks like we've got a clear first choice. We'll just give it another 10-15 seconds, and then we'll end the poll. All right, so we'll end the poll now. We've got about 92 percentage of people that have already put in their answers. So we'll go ahead and end that poll, and we'll share the results in a bit. But I will now invite our academic coordinator, Alex Furwarn, to go over a brief overview of the certificate. Go ahead, Alex, and welcome.
Thank you very much. As I said, I'm Alex Fairwarn, and I'm a professor here at Toronto Metropolitan University, and this is my kind of gig. This certificate was started many years ago, well over 10 years ago, and has been kept current all this time. So the details of the certificate itself are located on your screen. So it's 6 courses. And I want to say how important it is that you're considering this certificate. You might have noticed that our neighbor to the south is suddenly not as friendly as they used to be. So this is an opportunity to kind of help the country, actually, because you may believe that a lot of places are attacking Canada in the cyber world, and you would be correct. But we did not think that we would be in a position like this. So we're going to need all the people we can get who know something about cybersecurity in every single way, and you could do worse than take this certificate. Um, we have had people complete within 1 year, lots of them actually, but you can take as much time as you like to actually complete the certificate, up to some incredible long period of time. But most people wish to get out of here quickly, and you will learn the basics. So it will not make you an expert in everything, but it will make you employable. And we have a number of instructors who work in the industry. They are not professors like myself. They're actually, well, actually one is, Issa is, but they're actually practicing, right? So they practice this stuff. So it is real. And you will be learning from the best. And what we're hoping to do is put you out there, and you are our best advertising. So I think I'll end it there. Thanks. Yeah, okay. So we used to believe many things about this certificate. We thought we would be talking to essentially the law enforcement community because if you notice, there's that word digital forensics, of those words, digital forensics, which is kind of a law enforcing law thing. And if you've been looking around, and you probably have, many of this type of certificate don't talk about that. And the reason you need to talk about that is it's not like a game of chicken where you scare people off from attacking your site. It's actually got legal implications if someone attacks you, and you need to know what to do legally, not just technically. So this is a huge selling feature here. So we have people who will teach you the basics of the law around this, and actually how to maintain evidence. I think we've had a lot of cops go through this because they're looking to expand their area of interest. But we also have lots of different people who've gone through this, including very successful students who've had zero experience with anything to do with computation, and people who are starting from completely different walks of life. Now, I'm talking people who are stay-at-home moms, for example. One of our more successful graduates actually has her own practice advising people, advising companies about what to do for their cybersecurity needs. And the reason they want to talk to her is not because of what she learned in our certificates, because she is just a reasonable person to talk to who can say things in English. So you can take your existing skills from somewhere else and you can apply them to this field. We have a lot of career changers, like who are just not interested in maybe doing accounting anymore, but don't want to throw away their entire career. This is a good way of leveraging what you already know by knowing a little bit more about cybersecurity and tying them together. This is often very helpful if you're kind of in the middle and you don't know where you want to go. You know you have to move. This is often a very good direction to head in. And if you're just interested in learning about it, this is certainly a good way of doing it. Anyways, thank you. Next. Um, Yeah, see, we expose you to quite a lot of practical problems in cybersecurity, mostly through practice. So there aren't a lot of actually there aren't any tests. So there's no written tests per se, but there's a lot of activity. And so there are a lot of exercises, and there's projects related to everything cyber. And we want you to get working in this field as quickly as possible so that you'll see what the challenges are. As I said, our instructors are well versed in this area, and all the examples that they'll give you, they've either experienced it themselves or they're using something that's pretty fresh in their memory if somebody else has experienced it. So this is all with the intent of letting you know what you're getting into and saying that it's not impossible for you to get into this. You can actually make a positive difference if you start working in this area. Next. Yeah, so you're going to have a lot of opportunity because we would touch on areas which are currently hot. For example, you'd be very hard pressed to find anything to do with computation that hasn't got something to do with artificial intelligence in it. And so we've modernized our offering to actually include aspects of AI in a cyber. Now, the problem with AI, of course, is that it's constantly changing, but you need to be introduced somewhere, and this is the way it is. And since viruses are literally being written now by machines to affect other machines, you're going to have to actually know about this, and so are we all. So I think we're not, while we may not be the first, we're certainly close to the first people who actually address this issue in an actual certificate. So this training actually is relevant for our times at the moment. Um, we also have used examples from industry experts who have provided input into this through our advisory councils. And they have given us examples of where we should be going, and we've added that into the certificate as well. So you'll benefit from other industry experts who kind of know where this whole thing is going, at least in their minds. Next. So it's flexible. You can complete almost as quickly or as slowly as you want. The idea is that you are busy. We don't expect you to be at TMU. We don't expect you to be working on this as the only thing in your life, but we do want your success. So with the benefit of that philosophy, we call it portfolio driven. So what you're doing in the certificate is you're learning, but you're also developing evidence that you can be hired. And that's why we're interested in your portfolio. We want to actually have you do things that are demonstrable to potential employers. You can show them, I did this project, I did it myself, here's the result. You can see working code, you can see all the things that happened in it. This is my credibility. So as you apply for jobs, you have a credible thing to show. Also, we have this notion of wraparound support where we will actually help you get a job as well. So I've written many letters of support, as have all the instructors for people looking for jobs. So we will continue to support you even after you're done. Next. Yeah, so 6 required courses, and you need a grade point average, which is not very high. This is not a marks-driven certificate. This is a skill certificate. So we wish you to be skilled at the end of it. We want you to be able to apply to the certification of the CISSP and pass that certification, because when you pass that certification, you become employable. And the best customers we have are the ones who actually become employable and get jobs so they can tell other people about us. Thanks. So we're in the enrollment period. So enough about me flapping my gums about this. I'm pretty keen on it, but I think we should go on to the next segment.
Thank you so much for sharing that overview, Alex. Now, before I invite our next guest speaker, I'll just share the results of the poll that we took. And yeah, I just want to mention that all of these 4 skills that are mentioned are going to be covered in our certificate. So I just wanted to put that out there for anyone that's interested. Now it's my pleasure to invite one of our instructors of the program, Isa Traore. Welcome, Isa.
Thank you, Mashu. Good morning, everybody. So good morning for me because I'm in BC. It's morning time here. And so I've been teaching in the cybersecurity in the CKDF program since the beginning of the program. That's I think since almost 10 years. I've been teaching cybersecurity since 26 years. So I'm a full professor of cybersecurity at the University of Victoria and adjunct professor in the computer science department at TMU. And I'm really pleased to teach in this program. Like I see students coming in the program starting with very basic skills, sometimes limited even skills in IT. And by the end of the program, they are almost expert and they go and get employed. And so it's like a little bit about myself. So I'm a professor, but I'm also involved in industry. Like I've established a research lab in cybersecurity in 1999, which has a collaboration with several companies and in cybersecurity and AI. Like we do applied machine learning. We leverage artificial intelligence technique to apply this to solve cybersecurity problems. I've co-founded two companies. Also, one of these companies currently a public company. It is traded on the Toronto and the TSX, Toronto Stock Exchange. Cybersecurity, both are cybersecurity companies. And so in terms of, I try to also to bring those knowledge like in the teaching, like trying to make the courses as practical as possible. And the program is very practical, like it is hands-on, like you learn about the state of the art in cybersecurity technology. We update the program regularly. And you learn also how to use things. Like we are really focused, as Alex mentioned, we are really focused on teaching you a practical aspect, like being able to use. I mean, like the concepts are important. We introduce a concept, but our focus is really on the practical side, and I'm really pleased about that. And this is across the board for all the courses in the program. So I'm available and will be glad to answer your questions.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isa. I know it's really early for you over there in BC, so thank you for joining and sharing some of that insight. We'll now switch over and invite Derek Costa, who's also an instructor, and Derek will provide us with a little bit of an overview of his work experience that has impacted many people, but I'll let him share that. Go ahead, Derek.
Hi, thanks, Mashur. As you mentioned, my name is Derek Costa. I've been an instructor here on the CKDF 140 course, which is the Security Architecture and Design course. I've been an instructor on that course for about the last 6 years, I think since 2019. Professionally, I work as a IT manager for Iron Mountain. I manage the North American markets, both in the US and Canada, for our digital services division. So what we do there is we do digital imaging for about 99% of the Fortune 1000 companies, as well as governments, both in Canada, the United States, and around the world. And so in my daily role there, I work in an environment that is highly controlled and is very secure. Our primary facility, our NOC, as it were, our Network Operations Center, is based out of the United States. It is located in a mine that's about 200 feet or 20 stories underground. So you can imagine that it's a very secure facility. Everybody who works in that environment needs to have security clearances either in Canada or the United States. And so I have a unique opportunity to work in an environment like that, and I can bring that perspective to our students to give real world examples of how to design and implement and maintain a secure architecture. I also have another role that I play within the Canadian Armed Forces. I am a Canadian Armed Forces Army Reserve member. I am active duty, serving with the Canadian Armed Forces. I've been doing that since 2014. Primarily, my role is to act as a subject matter expert in IT and cybersecurity areas. And I do that with the unit that I am in that is based out of Toronto at Fort York Armories. It's a 32 Signals Regiment. So I have another unique perspective that I can bring to the table and share with our students from the military aspect as well. So if you ever have any questions about either of those two worlds, either the corporate world or the government space, I'd be happy to share any insights and perspectives with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Derek, and thanks for sharing all of that unique work experiences that you're part of right now. Thank you to both of our speakers and also to Alex for the presentation. So that ends the presentation portion of today's session. We will now open up the floor for Q&A. And you can enter your questions by typing them into the question box. I don't see any questions in yet, so I'll just, while some of those questions are coming in, I'll invite one of our academic advisors, Dave Dalrymple, to just say a couple of words about what him and his team offers to all of our students. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, Mashur, and thanks to everyone for presenting today. Yeah, as Mashur had said, my title is Academic and Career Advisor at the Cheng School. I share this title with my colleague Abby Vasikaran as well. And yeah, basically we're here to help with any questions related to courses and programs at the Cheng School, administrative questions you may have about this certificate if you're already registered, and we can help with some broad decision making around your career path. Our client services team is well equipped to answer a lot of these questions as well, but the benefit of contacting myself or Abby is that you can book a 20-minute Google Meet or phone appointment with us to if you'd like to discuss things in more depth. So I just put the link there if any of you would like to follow up and book an appointment to discuss anything of an academic or professional nature with us.
Okay, if I could just cut right in there, I think Dave is being too modest. The amount of service that you and Abby provide to potential students and students is pretty immense. You've solved many problems before they become problems, and people should be careful before dismissing CE. They're a better service than you're likely to get anywhere else. So take advantage of it. If you decide to do the certificate, don't forget to talk to Dave. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Alex.
Awesome, that's great, and thank you so much for sharing that, Dave. I see a few questions have come in, so we'll go ahead with the first question. For a student who has no prior experience in computer science, would this certificate meet the requirements to complete the CISSP exam? Alex, maybe you can start with that.
That's funny. We get that question all the time. That's what the certificate's for. Yes. So the short answer is yes, you are sufficiently unqualified to do what we need you to do, which is learn. We actually have a course in the certificate that will sort of bring you towards the CISSP, but many students don't bother with it because they actually already have enough with the other courses. And we have actually, I think we have an excellent rating with every student that has attempted the CISSP, no matter what their previous experience was. The thing that I will say to you is, and I don't know, maybe the other instructors will tell you something else, but a lot of this screws you up because you don't have the lingo, like the language of computation that you need. And most of that is about the network protocols. And so the network protocols you talk about are all TCP/IP. So, okay, so should I take a course on TCP/IP? No. You should read about it. Or you should watch some videos about it. They're all over the internet. They're absolutely free. Once you learn some of the lingo, then you'll understand what, say, someone like Derek or Issa are talking to you about. Even though they'll explain it to you as well, it's often good to just have that. But even if you don't do anything like that, this certificate is still for you. Thanks.
Yes, I fully agree with what Alex said. I think that what we teach in the certificates is in terms of concept and knowledge practice is above like the average CISSP. And so when the student go through and like we give them all the tools needed, all the conceptual knowledge, the practical aspect. And then I think the CISSP just become a kind of some kind of checkbox, something that you just need to get. And by the time they get at the end of the program, they are ready to tackle it. And so as Alex mentioned, there is a course for it, but they already have everything. I think the course just bring things together, and they are ready to go for the CISSP. And also, I think there is another aspect in the question that you asked about, like not having sufficient computer science program joining this certificate. And that's not crucial. Like when you start, like many of our students actually start without having this type of background. But very quickly they catch up and they are able to make it through successfully.
Great. No, thank you for that. I take it, preparation for CISSP is a big check mark if you're done with this certificate. So that'll help anyone who's interested in that. And also we have another question from Carmen Huang. Thanks for your question, Carmen. Is about having no experience in tech before starting this course, or if she should take a prerequisite. But I think you covered that really well, Isa, that you don't really need to have any experience in tech. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you can start right away.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, like there are many students that we have, even in the current cohort, like who came without having a tech background. What we do is to get some tutorial in place for them to catch up. For instance, in the first course in the program, which is CKDF 110, so it will be a network security course, but it is really penetration testing. And that's the focus of the course. The students start with a tutorial in Linux and a tutorial in TCP/IP. So these are basic tutorial, like it is just looking at some videos and practicing those. And so having those already started establishing some key foundation, and then progressively working through the labs. The labs are designed in such a way that they are very practical. Like we use the state-of-the-art platform. Like for instance, in 110, one of the platforms that we use is called Kali, and that's a penetration testing virtual machine, which is configured with various tools to help students. To help penetration testers in industry to test a network, to try to find out about the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses in that network, so that appropriate and adequate solutions can be designed. So we start introducing this from the beginning, but students get used to it very quickly.
Awesome. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Next question, and I'll maybe start with Derek on this one, and then the rest of you can chime in, is how does the course help understand AI-assisted security? I know AI is a hot topic every day. It's evolving now, so maybe you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, so we've just recently added a couple of modules to the architecture course. So AI, as everybody knows, is developing at a really rapid pace, and a lot of organizations, myself and my organization included, are starting to roll this out into the corporate world. And so it's really important that students kind of study this new aspect of technology and how it impacts security, because there are a lot of implications for rolling this technology out, both into the public sphere, so just general availability access like ChatGPT and Gemini and others, and then also into the corporate world, and how that technology can be either used to advance the goals of the organization, or can be used as a means for leaking information, proprietary information, unintentionally or intentionally outside of the organization. So we've developed a couple of modules to get people thinking about that, and learning about, you know, creative ways to leverage the technology, and also thinking about how it impacts the security posture of organizations as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I'd like to add
Yeah,
to
I was
that
just going to
also.
say, Isa,
Yeah.
if you want to add something to that.
Yeah, yes, is that so historically the AI and security have been very much connected, like related, and the theoretical foundation of many security solutions are AI based. And if you look at AI defensive techniques and technologies, like for instance, intrusion detection, like being able to detect that someone is hacking your network. Most of the intrusion detection solutions are pattern recognition systems. They are based on AI. And so that's one side of the coin. The other side is how AI can be used maliciously, like being able to use AI, for instance, for to be able to, I mean, for deepfake, for instance, those kind of things. So in some of the courses, there are coverage of those concepts and so on. Yeah.
I guess the thing with AI is it's actually too flexible. It can be used for almost everything. So I have colleagues who are working in the industry who are using versions of large language models to try and detect the threat from the inside. So these are people who are they're cyber workers, and they're trying to see if there's anybody within their organization that is likely to be a problem in cyberspace. And so this is a growing concern and very difficult to detect because it's a very weak signal. So AI permeates all of this, and it's helping researchers make, I guess, the defenses better. But keeping that in mind, it's also helping those attacking, making the attacks even more effective. So our foray into this in the certificate is to get you introduced to the ideas within applying artificial intelligence and things like large language models to the threat. Anyways, thanks.
All great contributions. Thank you so much, everyone, for your answers. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a really evolving field now, and you know, I'm glad that there's a lot of that's covered in the certificate. Next question is from someone who's previously studied information management in another degree and would like to go more into the field and debating between the privacy route versus the cybersecurity route, as both are interesting to the person asking. And not really sure which route to invest in or what should they excel in. And wondering if this is something that we can help or something that Dave might be able to allude to.
Take a shot at it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was involved in developing I think we had a privacy certificate as well. In my mind, the real differences are how interested are you in policy? Because there's a lot of policy in cybersecurity, but it's all fixed usually. Like, it doesn't change all the time. And so really it's about the technology and applying the policy to the technology. In privacy, it's almost the reverse. So it's all policy and very little technology, and some of it kind of delves into the technological components of it, but a lot of it is actually trying to plug holes for social issues, right? So we find we have to do privacy for something we never considered before. So that means new policy or amendments to old policies, but the actual technology underneath remains pretty much the same. So it depends if you want to go down a more technical road, mostly, and not always, but mostly cyber is for you. And if you're into the more policy side of it, then perhaps you could consider privacy. But mind you, AI is changing both of these fields very, very rapidly. So maybe this will change too. Anyways, thanks.
Yeah, I have a little bit that I can share about this because this is something that we come across quite a bit in our industry. So in the organization that I work in during my full-time job, we have a lot of privacy and compliance rules that we have to follow, both in Canada, the United States, and every other place where we do business around the world. Like Alex was saying, the privacy aspect is largely policy driven, and it overlaps into the legal sphere as well. So it's a lot about compliance, whereas the cybersecurity is also about policy, but heavily driven into technology arena and how the implementation of those policies are done from a technological perspective. And what we're seeing a lot more of is that we have a very integrated world right now, very interconnected, and trust has been breaking down over the last couple of years between countries, between regions, etc. And so what we're seeing is that there's a lot more language coming out in contracts now where there is stipulations that data must reside within a certain country's borders, can only be touched and accessed by employees that reside within that country, that have background checks and security clearances, etc. So I think both are sort of growth industries. They both have a lot of career potential. It's just really more, I think, as a career decision would be more based on your personality. What are you more interested in? Are you more interested in the technological aspect of it that is maybe more on the security side versus the policy side, which is more risk compliance and risk management on the privacy side?
That's really great insight. Thank you so much for that, Derek. Okay, so moving right along. Next question is, would the courses taken during this certificate be counted as credits for the cybersecurity master's program? So, Alex, did you want to maybe take that?
Yeah, so these credits will help you get into the cybersecurity master's program. I'm assuming you're talking to the recently approved one at TMU. So I was I participated in creating that. I didn't do it, but so we look heavily at who your past experience, because the intent is that you would have experience to go into that master's program, and this would be the experience. Now, when you're saying credit, every course that's in this certificate has a certificate credit associated with it, means that you can earn the certificate. It doesn't count towards, they wouldn't count towards, say, you missing a degree. So to get it to the master's program, you actually have to have an undergraduate degree in something. It doesn't have to be in cybersecurity. So we can't replace that with this certificate. But if you say had a degree in philosophy or economics or biology or anything like that, that would be perfectly fine. And if you had this additional experience, then your chances of getting in are certainly much better than if you only went with that undergraduate degree. But you can't really use the courses themselves as something like, so, oh, I'm just going to fit this in here and that will make me have an undergraduate degree. The system just doesn't work that way. So you'll need an undergraduate degree, and this is kind of your leverage to help you get in. Okay? So if that answers the question, thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Alex. Next question is, what kind of cyber threats do you think this certificate prepares us to best tackle?
Yeah, I mean, I can take this. And so I would say
go ahead,
Also everything, like any type of threat, like because in cybersecurity, like when we start looking, when we decide, for instance, to start building a defense, some defense for an organization, you think in terms of any type of threat. Like you do some threat and what we call some threat and vulnerability analysis, which is some kind of risk, which is a risk analysis in the context of cybersecurity. You try to identify, to have an idea of what are the assets that you want to protect, what are the policies, what is the business, what are the business roles, and so on. And then based on that, you start brainstorming and thinking about what are the potential ways that an adversary can compromise all of those. And when you do that, you can't leave any threat on the table. You have to think about everything. And so that's the perspective. Then in the course, it's the same perspective that we look at. Like, for instance, taking 110, for instance, we go, so that's a pen test course. So this means like students learn how to hack ethically. But in this perspective, we look at all type of threats and different attack methods. Like we go spend several modules doing that. And then after we start looking at the defensive tactic. In courses like 140, they look at how to design better architecture, secure architecture to strengthen the cybersecurity posture of the organization. Like in 130, for instance, we will look at how to investigate hacking incidents. Like this happen quite often. So that's focusing on digital forensic methods and so on. So we take really a kind of broad range because you don't need to know about all the attack method. You just need to know some of them, be very comfortable with them, and then you can adapt those techniques to any type of threat.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Next question is from Stefan Nally. Thank you for your question, Stefan. Question for Derek. Based on your experience with cybersecurity and the Canadian Armed Forces, would you suggest that this certificate is a good option to take if I'm looking to go into intelligence / signal sector of the armed forces?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, especially if you want to do that as a specialization within the armed forces. So we do have a cyber operator as a position within the Canadian Armed Forces, and then there's a more generalist type of roles, which are signals operator, and then there's also signals intelligence operator. So this gives you a really good basis to sort of steer your military career, if that's what you're looking to do, into what suits you best, your personality best. Because if you have a good understanding of the different realms within cybersecurity or different disciplines, then if you are looking towards a career within the Canadian Armed Forces, this would be a great way to get that sort of understanding of the different realms or disciplines, and then choose a particular trade which you would go into in the military, and that would be your career path, because there are different career paths that you can do that are sort of related to this, and they exist both, in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. There's several different career paths that you can choose. So this is a great way to get that background, foundational knowledge, find out what fits you and your lifestyle and your personality the best, and then choose a path forward.
Going to add to what Derek said a little bit. So cyber operator is what they're actually missing thousands of in the Canadian Armed Forces. So just remember that term, cyber operator, and take our certificate. You'll do just fine in the Canadian Forces. In fact, you can tell them that you are, already a cyber operator. Where can I fill in the form? Because you will have the experience you need to start there, and it's a good career. I spent 14 years in the Army myself. So if you're looking to that, this is in fact, one of our instructors used to be, I think it was your commanding officer, actually, Derek.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and for different trades within that sort of signals discipline, there are signing bonuses for certain types of careers as well that are in high demand. So that's another great thing that you can take advantage of. So looking into whatever career that you might be interested might have an associated signing bonus with it, which might cover your costs of the education. So it's something else to look into.
Brilliant. Thank you for your different perspectives, Derek and Alex. At this time, we don't have any more open questions, so I'll go ahead and ask Luke to just put up the last slide, which has the contact information for everybody. And before I provide my closing remarks, we'll just do one last poll. Just to get some feedback from everybody. We've got a lot of people that have attended today, and it really helps us to improve our sessions with the feedback that you can provide. And if you're choosing the last option there, which is somewhat not entirely, please send us an email to the email address that you see on the screen, and we can definitely help you with whatever questions you might have. And so, I wanted to take this time to thank our guest speakers and presenters today, and thank you all for taking the time out of your day to attend today's info session on cybersecurity. And if you're interested to learn more about the certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. If you have any other questions, you can contact me directly with my email at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. And you'll also receive a recording of this session and a survey within 24 to 48 hours. On behalf of the Chang School and all of our guest speakers and presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of the day.